Hey resellers, this is Hillary. This is Posh Salad, and thank you so much for tuning in today. This is a hopefully quick video on what I do when my items, after I've gone sourcing and I have my item. We're going to be working with this Patagonia little pull on, and I will tell you what I do when I get that home. So the first thing I have is I just have this little composition book, and I write everything down individually first, and I keep the receipts. And the reason I do that is I know that once I write an item down, it helps me remember it. So a lot of my items, I will remember where I bought it, what I paid for it, because I've gone through this process and I've written it down. That's just me. It's an extra step, and I don't recommend it for everybody unless you want to do it. I've gotten it down, so it's pretty quick. And what I like is, like, I had some items that I got at the beginning and I wasn't sure when I started my spreadsheet. I didn't keep all of the information in the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet has grown as my business has grown. So it's been helpful that I can still go back to the book. And this is my second book. And I usually will try to write out on the receipt what the item is that what the items are that I've purchased next to the cost, because that helps too. And then I just tape it into the book. My cousin who does taxes told me I need to take a scan of the receipts because these receipts will fade over time. And they definitely will, because they have. And of course I didn't take scans because, yeah, lazy. But anyway, where did I get this Patagonia? We're just going to pretend like we are writing this in, I believe. So I paid $1 for this Patagonia blue. And so I write down in my book, I write down Patagonia blue pullover, two-tone blue or something, pullover jacket or whatever this is. And I write down the size and what I paid for it. Sometimes if I'm like not at a place where I'm like watching TV or something, I'll pull out a couple of items and I'll measure them, and I'll write the measurements in the book as well, so that when I am ready to list them, the measurements are there. But I don't always do that, because usually if I have time to measure, I have time to list. So that's the first thing I do. Then I take the price tags off and it goes to the laundry. I wash everything that is washable. I tend to wash things on a gentle cycle. I tend to use I will use I just got a fragrance soap and it's so weird. Cause now we have to get personal. I make my own laundry soap. I'm allergic to a lot of things, and I make my own laundry soap. I grate up bars of soap. I mix them with washing soda, borax, and what's the third thing? It's soap, borax, and washing soda, and baking soda, and a little bit of fragrance, which I use a combination of lavender and lemon essential oils. I also make my own softener. So I've noticed I've been going through a little quicker, and so I just switched to, I believe it's either Dreft or Purex Baby, and I have been using my own for so many years that the smell just like knocked me over. It's not a bad smell, but it's a perfumey smell, and I didn't expect it to have a perfumey smell. But anyway, so the bottom line is I wash everything. And the reason I do that is because I do not want my customer to get an item. And I'm assuming they're probably going to rewash it anyway. But some of the things I get are hand wash. And one item I got was hand wash. And I thought, I'm going to wash this because I'm not sure if this is clean. And I washed it in a bucket in the sink, and the water turned almost black. It was so filthy. And I do not ever want my customer to have to see that. I don't, so everything they're going to get has been cleaned in some way or fashion. If it is dry clean only, if I find the link, I used to work in a costume shop when I was in college. I have a theater background, and you know, there's a lot of items that can't be washed during the run of a show, and so generally you make like kind of a dry clean solution, and it's usually like rubbing alcohol or vodka, which is a vodka is used a lot to dry clean clothes. And I usually I use my essential oils. Usually I just use the lemon, not the lavender, because the lavender can be a strong smell. So I'll make like a thing, and it has like a little bit of soap with that, and some purified water, and I spritz the item down, and I look for any spots, and I'll spot clean them, and then I'll put them in the dryer, and they usually come out nice and fresh and lovely. And that's what I do for dry clean only items, but everything else gets washed, and I'm just, that's just me. I would appreciate that to get clothes that I purchased on Poshmark that are clean, and so I like to do the same for my customers. Oh, I can also give you a little side note since I have here. I have 3 products that I use to get out stains. This one I just got, it's Amodex. It is the product that Sharpie recommends to get Sharpie out of clothes. I just got this, and I used it on, I somehow mixed up a sweater with some blue jeans that hadn't been color tested yet, and so I got blue all over my cream colored sweater, and it actually did a decent job, but this is what, like 1.1 fluid ounce, and it was like $6 or something off of Amazon. I'll put the link in the comments. You know, it worked on ink, and old ink that had been dried, it lightened it, so I imagine with a couple of more treatments it might work. This is my favorite. This is Puracy Natural Stain Remover. I got this in a 3-pack from Amazon. It is an enzyme-based, non-toxic, plant-derived spot cleaner. And this works like gangbusters. Seriously. The instructions are to spray it on the stain. The longer you let it sit on the stain, the better it works. I don't know if I talked about this before. I feel like I've done this video before, but I had a pair of peach-colored Brooks Brothers pants, and they had gotten caught under the wheel of the rack, and they just had random black splotches all over them. And I thought, well, for $1, I'm going to take this home and see what I can do with it. Worst comes to worst, maybe I'll dye them black or something. But I used this, and it lightened it, but I sprayed it, and then I washed them right away, and it lightened it. And then the next time I sprayed it, let it sit for a couple of days till the next time I did laundry. And it took 3 times, but those pants look like new. So that is Puracy, and this is my 3rd bottle, and I need to reorder it. And they have, this was like the tester, and you got 3 of these. And so ordering the next is going to be a bigger bottle, like almost like this. This I got at Walmart. This is Grandma's Secret Spot Remover Laundry Spray. And it says on it that it removes oil, grease, paint, makeup, grass, clay, inks, blood, baby formula, tar, spaghetti sauce, coffee, betadine, rust, turmeric, fabric bleed, and pet stains. I got this because I had the fabric bleed. It did not work. But it's pretty good on other stains. So I'd probably say this is 3 if you don't want to wait for your mail order from Amazon to get your Puracy or the Amodex. This is okay. It's stronger than Shout, which to me is like putting just water on your stain. But anyway, so okay, back to what I do after, how I sort everything. So it goes in the laundry. I wash according to the instructions. After it comes out of the laundry, I bring it sort of into the sunlight to see if there's anything that's untoward on it. This ended up going through the wash twice because I did not notice that it had a stain on the sleeve the first time. And then when I came out and I brought it into the sunlight to see if it was ready for me to photograph, it I saw the stain on the shoulder, so I used the Puracy on it, and I did not note where the stain was, and I can't find it, so I'm assuming that it's out. I think it was on this sleeve somewhere, like, I don't know, whatever. And so now this is ready to photograph. So it goes on a chair in the dining room that lets me know this is ready to be photographed. And actually it's not a chair, it's a big wicker basket. It's my I'm calling it my gives me life pile, because I don't like calling it a death pile, because who wants, there's nothing good associated with death. So I call it my gives me life pile, and that's where this goes. And every couple of days I go through, because it's just going to have, you know, what's on top. So every once in a while I go through and I sort through the pile, and I know what I want to list next. So like coming up, I'm listing sweaters and jackets. So that's what I pull out of the pile. And then I take the photos, and I take this information, and sometimes I'll put on the information here, so I'll know, like, if I list it, like if I'll put the measurements, and then if I list it, I'll put the date and the platform, and you know, how much I listed it for. I'll just write little notes on there. But more often than not, that's what I did in the beginning when it was moving a lot slower and I was listing like 10 items a week. But now that I'm listing 10 items a day, that's not really all that good. So the next thing is, once I've listed it, it goes on my spreadsheet. And my spreadsheet has everything that I currently have for sale on Poshmark, Mercari, Amazon, because I still have some things on Amazon FBA, which I need to take off. And what was that? Did I say Poshmark? And eBay. eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and Amazon. I don't have my Etsy listings there. And on my spreadsheet, which kind of looks like this. This is just a thing from a video I did earlier. I have the title of the item, and I try to use the title that I will use in the listing, although I don't want to take up that much space. So I'll have like Patagonia, two-tone blue, over jacket, maybe half zip. If I have like, if it's something like, if I have like, you know, several different pairs of Levi's, I'll be more descriptive in the title line in my spreadsheet. The next thing is the category that I've listed it in. So this would go in active. I put the size so that when I'm looking at my metrics later, I know like, oh, I sell a lot of mediums, or I sell a lot of 16s. That's good to know. I put the price that I paid for the item. I don't add the tax to that item, but I just put the price. And so like if I have a bag sale, or if I hit a bag sale, I break down just the by item, or if I go to the bins, I don't like reweigh and say, oh, this was $1.35 a pound and this was half a pound. I don't do that, but I'll just take a blanket amount and you know, divide my total by the number of items, and that's the amount I'll get. And then if I've looked it up in my comps for searching, I'll put the retail price. I very rarely will find that for a lot of the items that I have. I'll put the date listed is the next column. The next column is the platform that I've listed it on. That's and I also put which bin it's in. That's a column that's not on here because I didn't need it for this data. But I'll put the bin it's in, and then I'll put the code. So eBay has its own personal SKU number that you can write in that the customer actually, I don't think they see. Poshmark and Mercari do not have that option. So I just like have a random like code that gives me information about that item. And it tells me which bin it's in. So I put that in my spreadsheet so that if, you know, when it sells, oh, okay, this is in bin H. I can just go straight to bin H and pull this, and it's good to go. So that's everything that I put prior to it being sold. Then when it's sold, I put the sold date, the sold price. I don't track like how many offers I've made on an item. I don't track how many markdowns. So if something originally listed at 30, I don't change it that, I marked it down to 24. I just put the original listing was 30 and I sold it for 20. Because that's the bottom line information. And if I am offering closet clear out or what is it, dollar deals or whatever they call it on Poshmark, I don't put that information there. I put the shipping charge. So I put what the customer paid and then what I paid. And the reason that's important is because if you are offering a shipping discount on Poshmark, you want to note that you paid that extra $1.99 shipping. Also, with eBay, I tend to make a couple of cents on shipping, so I want to know that. Because usually top rated sellers will get a shipping discount. The next column is the amount of fees that I've paid. With Poshmark and Mercari, that's easy, very easy to find. I found an easy way to do it on eBay, but then I just went to do it again last night and I couldn't remember how I did it. Maybe I wrote it down. It might be in my book. Because you have PayPal fees and you have Poshmark fees and and a listing fee if you have that. So sometimes, the PayPal fee and the Poshmark fee can be in two different places. But I know there was something on eBay that I found everything and it was easy. And I was like, oh, I got to remember this. So hopefully I wrote it down. I don't remember if I did or not, because otherwise it's tedious. It's a tedious task to try to figure that out. But I want to keep track of all the fees that I paid. And then I give myself a column where it says what my profit is or, how much I made on the item after fees. Then the next column is how much I made on the item after I take out my cost. So I like having those side by side. So like, for instance, here's something I made $11.72 on. And then after my cost, I paid $10.72. And I like having those side by side because that gives me an idea of how much I'm paying per item. The final category, which is something I just had to add recently, is taxes that are being taken out by Poshmark. And I got a notice that said like, oh, you're in Georgia, and so we're going to stop doing that. And so they stopped taking taxes out, and then they just started again. And I've noticed now it's by state. So certain states, they don't pay any sales tax on goods. And so that's replicated that they did not take taxes out. But other states do. And so I get their tax rate taken out. And it is what it is. And then after that, I take the item, I put it in the appropriate bin, and seal the bin up and call it a day. When the item sells, I pull the item, I double check it to make sure it doesn't have any stray strings on it. I do this beforehand, but sometimes in the beforehand, I'm dealing with a lot of items, so I can skip things. So I'll look at it, I'll go over it, fine tooth comb it. If there's pilling on it, I'll use my sweater shaver and get that. I'll clip any threads. If it, I'll double check and make sure it doesn't smell weird. If it does, I'll wash it again, or I'll dry clean it with the spray to make sure that it doesn't have any weird odors. Because when you store in plastic, sometimes things, to me, smell plasticky, and I'm sensitive to that. So I imagine that some other people are, and I'd rather things go to people smelling neutral. And then I pack it up and write my thank you note and ship it. And I move the item from my inventory list on my spreadsheet to my sold list. And once a month, usually it's supposed to be the first Tuesday of the month. It rarely is. I go through and I make sure that I pull everything that's sold, and I pull my invoices from all the different, Mercari, I don't think Mercari gives you an invoice, but Poshmark and eBay do, and I tend to not sell a lot on Mercari, so it's not hard to track that one sale per month. And I'll fill in all the details that I missed, and then it goes into my monthly spreadsheet. So for the year, I have a little item that says that, this is January 2019. So I keep that for a year. So for hopefully tax purposes, it will be clear. And because I didn't have to really declare it on my taxes last year, because I think I made like $200. So this year it's going to be an interesting thing. So I want to make sure that my records are tight. And that is everything I do from purchasing the item and bringing it home to sending it to the customer. I hope that is helpful, and I hope you gained some new information, some new insights here. And if you feel like there's anything that you do that I should do that I didn't mention doing it, go ahead and put it in the comments below, because we can all get better at this, right? And I hope to hear from you soon, and thank you so much for watching. Peace out.